I am in no way, shape, or form a financial expert or guru, but I have learned over the past few years that experience is sometimes the best teacher. Take this from a girl who used to buy when me want buy and fly when me want fly. If you're interested in hearing a few financial tips that I've been using over the past few years that have ultimately helped me to manage and transition during the pandemic, then definitely stay tuned. I know that when it comes to talking about finances, a lot of people are very uncomfortable, but you already know on Teaching with a Spin, we are here to create a family and a community of learners who ultimately are growing together. So I just wanted to share with you a few financial tips that I've been using that have really helped me to manage during these most challenging times. I know that a lot of people have lost their jobs. A lot of people are really feeling pressed during these times, and I think that these few tips will definitely help you out as they've helped me. The first tip that I would recommend is to budget. I never believed in budgeting. I used to buy what I wanted to buy regardless of the cost. And I quickly realized that it is so important to budget so that you know where your money is going. There's nothing worse than spending like you crazy and not being able to account for your money. And believe me, I've been in that predicament so many times. But if you know me, I follow Dave Ramsey. He's a financial expert. I've shared him with family and friends. And he encourages people to make sure that your money has a place to go. And by budgeting, this is definitely going to help you in that regard. Now, there are many free budgeting apps that are out there. I used to use the Every Dollar app, which was developed by Dave Ramsey. But I've realized that whenever I have to stick to things that are too rigid, I tend to do my own thing. So what I simply do is in my handy dandy notebook, in my planner, I would simply document my expenditure for the month and the amount of money that I expect to spend. And my goal is not to supersede what I have documented. So for instance, if my goal is to spend $200 on gas, then I put $200 down and I know that I have to stick within my $200 budget. Tip number 2, during these times and in general, we have to be frugal. Limit your spending on non-essential items. Now, in my book, whatever I love is essential, but I have learned that there are essential and there are non-essential things that one can purchase, and it is important to only focus on those things that are completely necessary during these times. It makes no sense. I mean, we're on lockdown, we're on quarantine, where you got to go? Tip number 3, I know you've heard it time and time again, rainy days will come, and rainy days are here. The reality is that over the past few months, it's been storming, and financially, we have to make sure that we are staying afloat. So one of the things that I've learned too is to ensure that you are saving. It is paramount. So I have savings accounts both at the bank and the credit union, but I'm going to give you a little tip. At the bank, you are ultimately losing money. You're going to be charged service fee, charges at the end of the month, and taxes and what's not. So I prefer to save my money on the credit union, because even if it's 1% or 0.98%, your money is growing. Even if it's small, it's still growing. Tip number 4, pool your resources. There's no shame in this game. One of the things that I love that my sister and I have going on is if we have similar items that we use, we will split the bill, period. Splitting the bill definitely helps, because as opposed to spending, let's say the items total $50, you're spending $25 which ultimately is less, right? And it makes sense. It's something that we've been doing and it has been working for us. Spot on. Tip number 5, you definitely want to use your items sparingly. I know that this is very difficult, especially when you have children at home. I've seen so many Instagram and Facebook posts about how the children are eating parents out of a home. But I think it's so important to teach children early on that you have to use things in moderation, because at the end of the day, you want to make sure that things are lasting during these times. The store lines are long. I get anxiety even thinking about having to go to the store. The items, when you order them, are taking long to come. So it's definitely important to make sure that you are using things in moderation.
Question tall.
Thank you for sticking with me all the way to the end of this video. I hope that you find these tips helpful, and I hope that you are managing your money during these really, really difficult times. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you're interested in more tips and tricks. Coming up in the video lineup is another exciting video on self-care tips with a spin that I've been using to help de-stress during the pandemic. So definitely like and stay tuned for what's to come.
Beep, 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 beep.